Hello, and welcome back to another edition of the RPG Book Report with me, your host, Logician Tim. That's right. Tonight, we're going to be continuing our quest, learning more about the Pendragon RPG, and specifically, we're going to be going over the Pendragon realm. And so the authors, they're really sticklers on this. They say it's very important for the players to know this chapter of the book. They said this is going to help you understand what is going on in the world, and you'll know the customs, the cultures, the laws of the land, those type of things. So you don't get your head cut off in like the first 5 minutes. So yeah, knowing all this is going to help you really play your character better and is going to give you a better experience in the game. Now, before we do begin, I just want to ask that if you like this type of content, that you would go ahead and like the stream and maybe subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I mean, it's free. Just click the button. It'll just, let you know when I've uploaded a new video. That's it. No big deal. If you do like this type of content, you want to support the channel, I do have a Patreon. The link is down in the description below, or you could just buy me a cup of coffee instead. Now, that link is in the description as well, and it's KO-FI, but they pronounce it coffee. It's just a one-time thing. There's no sign up or reoccurring charges, anything like that. It's just, hey, buy a cup of coffee and support the stream. Simple as that. So, all right, so let's get on to the book. That's why we're here, right? So yeah, we're in Pendragon. We're on the second chapter. Let me make sure this is squared up for you guys. The second chapter, we're on chapter 1. Where are we at? Here we are. Chapter 1, the realm. That's where we're at. Okay. So they give us some background of kind of like the past 70 years and what's been going on in the country. The rulers and wars and different invasions from the Pictish and the Irish and the Saxons. Many of the lords rebelled against the king, just like a whole lot of craziness going on. Basically, lots of death and uproar in Britain. Now, they tell us that now when your character is here, it's the year 485, and it seems that the Saxons are gathering in Saxony for another potential uprising. And so the noble, British knights are preparing to defend the realm once again for the King Pendragon. So that's kind of where we start off in this realm. Now, they do tell us that your parents, your grandfather and your father, they've kind of participated in all these kind of wars and battles and uprisings and stuff. And now it is your turn to serve your country. So that's kind of where we start off in Pendragon. It's your turn. Your granddad did it. Now your father did it, and now it's your turn, right? So you're going to go to fight for your country. They do give us some famous people quickly in this chapter as well. I'm not going to go over all of them, just a couple of them. Uther Pendragon, of course. Like, I didn't know who it was before I started reading the book, and I'm assuming that if you haven't read it either, you might not know as well. Uther Pendragon is the king of this place called Logres, and he's known to be very ambitious and a great fighter and a leader. He's very stern in his judgments. He desires to rule all of Britain, not just Logres, and he's kind of waged war against the invading Saxons and pretty much all the other British kingdoms that he doesn't control. One of the other famous people in here, which I thought was really cool, I didn't expect it, was Merlin. Dude, Merlin. We've all heard of Merlin. Well, this is where he comes from. I didn't know that. This age of Arthur. Maybe I did kind of know that and just forgot. I don't know. But they tell us that Merlin is kind of alive and well at this time, and he is the archdruid of Britain. And they tell us that he is the most skilled of all magicians, and he's feared and also mistrusted by just about everybody. They tell us that he has helped King Uther several times, and some other kings such as King Lot. He says that he does periodically just kind of disappear into his hideaway spot, his getaway spot, to recover when he exerts himself with too much magic. I thought that was kind of interesting. They have some, who else do they have in here? Oh, Nimue. It's Nimue, but it's pronounced Nimue. And she is the Lady of the Lake. And I think we've heard this story before as well, the Lady of the Lake. And so she's this powerful enchantress, right? And she lives beneath this magical lake, which it can kind of come and go as she wishes and can appear pretty much anywhere, which I think is pretty awesome. So yeah, just a couple of famous people in here. They have the Fisher King, Archbishop Dubricus, and some other people here, but I'm going to try to save those for later. I did want to show you, so I'm going to move on to the map and the area that you're going to be living in. Let me get this up here. So this is kind of a map of the area, and you can see right here, let me get my clicker on it. This is Logres down here, this kind of area right here. And you are a knight from Salisbury, which is like right in around this area, something like that. That's probably about the area that Salisbury is. Where I kind of have to translate maps from one map to the other because Salisbury is not in this on this particular map. But so you are a Salisbury knight, and it's located in Logres. And Logres is kind of like the largest, most powerful kingdom in Britain, and includes about half of the island's population. So it is divided into like several regions of Logres, and each is ruled by like a duke or an earl, something like that. So there's lots of different leaders, and they each kind of have their own personality to deal with, but they all follow under King Uther at this time. They do tell us a little bit about the church. There are two kind of rival types of Christianity in Britain at this time that they say you need to know about. There's kind of British Christianity, I'll get it out, British Christianity, and the Roman Church. They say that churchmen are not considered noble unless they also own land. So even within this kind of hierarchy, there's hierarchy within the church as well, of course, right? So they too tell us that most of Britain is still pagan. So farmers kind of make offerings to the field and like the weather gods. And some kings are advised by druids instead of like the church. And they say, like I said before, Merlin is like the acknowledged leader of the pagan religion. So you have, churches like the British church and the Roman church, you have the pagans. And then outside of the druids, you have like these local covens who perform like farming and fertility rites, who are led by Nemu, who are, like I said, it was the Lady of the Lake. So these are the followers of the Lady of the Lake. So looking at the map again, you'll see Logres is here. Now, Cambria is just west of Logres, and it tells us that it's ruled by two different kings. So you got kind of two kings right there and tight quarters, right? To the north, you have Cumbria, and they call it the Northern British. And it's mostly like more covered mountains and dense, unexplored forest for the most part. And then that is ruled by King Lot. Down here, we have the Saxon coast. Down here by Sussex and Kent, the Saxon coast. And it's kind of settled by the Germanic peoples from Northern Europe. They're kind of the people that live there are called Saxons, although they're not all from Saxony. So you kind of get lumped in once you go down there. Way up north, you'll see this is Pickland, and everything, basically it's everything north of Cambria, they say is pretty much Pickland. I'm assuming that's like all this stuff would be considered Pickland. And so that's mostly mountains and unexplored by pretty much everybody except for like the natives that just live out in those woods. They do tell us that the Picts will often raid Britain to kind of get some goods and stuff, and then bring all their plunder back up north into their homeland. So those would definitely be considered an enemy of your knight for sure. Then you have Cornwall and Brittany, which is out to the west of Logres, and so they're famous for their tin mines. And there's two rulers over Cornwall, neither of which have firmly submitted to Uther. So you can see it's a big, pretty decent sized world. There's lots of stuff going on and lots of places to travel and different factions and stuff involved, which seemed to me like it make a really, really fun game. So anyway, that's kind of like the basics of the map and what you need to know. And now, so I want to go back to the book. So kind of move on to the more interesting part to me, at least. And that is the high order of the knighthood. And it's kind of fun stuff to me. They talk about like, how do you become a knight? And they tell us that there's this formalized sequence for learning the skills of knighthood. Like first, you're going to start off and you're going to be called what's called a page. And so these are young boys or girls between the ages of 10 or 15 years old. And they tell us that they learn new ways of courtly life by watching their elders, like the knights that they're serving, and following orders. They're kind of running, they're gophers, right? Go get me this, go get me that. Hey, get out of my way, right? They tell us that most girls are going to will move on to become maids in waiting and wives, and the boys will eventually become squires. And that's the second level. So you have pages, and then you have squires right above them, which at age 15, usually boys will become squires. And so these are the true servants of the knights. They study the ways of the knighthood, and just those among the squires that are very confident, that show a lot of promise, and some of them are going to have the right connections, of course, just like every other life. It's who you know, right? Sometimes it is who you know. But those who are very confident and show that great promise and know the right people will eventually go on to become a knight. But they tell us most of them are going to remain squires. So even if after you turn 18 or whatever it is, 21, most of them are still going to be squires, serving other knights. So finally, so you have page, squires, and then finally you'll get to be a knight if you do pass everything. And usually this happens at the age of 21, and you'll be knighted after 6 years of being a squire. They do tell us that some will be knighted a little bit younger. They said Lancelot was actually knighted at 18, but those are a little bit more rare. I just thought that was cool. Like, page, squires, and finally you get to be a knight. Now they do tell us that the ranks inside, there are ranks like inside of knighthood too. So it's not like once you're a knight, everybody's a knight, and that's fine. No, there's actually ranks inside of being a knight as well. And so kind of the bottom rung, if you will, is called the knight mercenary. And so these are knights that don't have a lord at all, and they kind of have to seek out work to sustain themselves, to feed themselves, to clothe themselves, to find a place to stay, all those type of things. Generally, they tell us that they make a living by seeking out like mercenary, like soldier type employment. So, hey, you need me to go kill somebody, or you want me to guard this? It's kind of by the job type thing, and that's how they get their pay. And those are knight mercenaries. The second level up from that is called the knight bachelor, and they get their income directly from their lord that they serve. So they live in their lord's household. They don't have their own land necessarily most of the time, and they're really like the lord's bodyguard and kind of standing army, and they kind of travel wherever the Lord does. And I thought that was cool that they talk about the word bachelor here, which, most of the time we talk about bachelor being somebody that's unmarried, right? And they said, well, that kind of originated with the knight bachelor because these are knights that were not thought to be able to support a wife yet. And so that's kind of where we got that term bachelor. And that's what it tells us in the book. That's pretty cool. I love knowing origins of words and stuff. So much fun. Okay, so you got knight's mercenary, knight's bachelor, then you have a knight vassal, okay? And a vassal will own their own land, and they're going to live at home, but they have to serve, I think it's 40 days per year at war. And they also must serve 3 months of a year at the castle garrison duty. They do have things that they have to do. They have to appear in court to offer advice whenever the Lord demands it. I mean, pretty much do whatever your Lord demands. That's what it always is, right? Whatever the boss wants, keep them happy, right? They're paying for your bills. So that's the knight vassal. So it's a knight that has their own land, and they usually have enough to live at home and have their own manor and stuff like that. Now, the highest level of knight is the knight lord, okay? And so these knights are knights that actually lord over other knights, okay? So you might have a knight bachelor, you might hire knight mercenaries that you employ, right? And so these are like the upper rank noblemen, right? So the lowest grade lord is called a banneret knight. The highest would be like the high king, right? So the high king is a knight, and it's a knight lord, high king, right? So it doesn't get any higher than that. So there you go. Those were kind of like the ranks of the knighthood, which I thought was really, really cool. I did want to go on and tell you guys about this homage and fealty. So every knight, except for the high king, of course, is someone's vassal, right? They've all undertaken this ritual of homage and fealty, which pledges like like unbreakable permanent bond, but like this loyalty between two men. Okay. And so it's made up of this two parts. You got homage and fealty. And homage they tell us, is this kind of ancient ceremony where the knight, the vassal, will pledge an oath promising aid and counsel to the Lord. And aid in this case is kind of like military strength, military assistance. I'll fight for you. And the word counsel just kind of means your advice on your business or support, through advising them, that type of thing. Now, in return, the Lord is going to promise leadership and a gift. Usually that gift is in the form of land to the knight, and sometimes it's permanent gift, sometimes it's until they die, and then it reverts back to the king. Sometimes it's a temporary thing. So yeah, that's kind of how the homage goes, and that's just a one-time deal that you make homage to a lord. Now, fealty is a little bit different. Fealty is an oath of faithfulness, which includes the promise basically to never attack the Lord. So the knight's promising, hey man, I'm not going to attack you. I swear to you, I'm not going to attack you. And so sometimes they does it. Sometimes this is repeated, kind of at the will of the Lord whenever they feel like they need reassurance, right? Hey man, you're kind of looking a little sketchy over there. Why don't you let me know some fealty? Sounds weird. Sounds a little weird, but yeah. Once you re-swear your oath to me, let me know that you're not going to just jump out of nowhere and attack me. But what makes this interesting is that a knight can have multiple loyalties, making things a little bit difficult. So, one lord wants one thing that you've sworn to, and then another lord that you've sworn to wants something else, and it can get very confusing, right? And this is where a knight can declare what's called a liege lord, which is the lord that will have priority over all other lords, which will help ease some of those confusions and contradictions that can occur. So you'll just say like, hey man, just letting you know, yes, I'll swear homage and fealty to you, but my liege lord is Uther or whatever, right? And so that they know, here's my highest lord, he's going to get priority. So if you contradict, I'm going with him, right? So cool stuff. I thought that was neat about the liege lord. They do go into the book to tell us a little bit about the social classes. And these were pretty common knowledge to me. Like the nobles are like the highest high ups, right? The kings and the knights, the lords, the dukes, those type of things. The clerical class is next, which, the churches, they have their own kind of hierarchy depending on if they're secular or monastic, whatever. And then finally you have the common folk, right? And this is pretty much everybody else, which is about 95% of people. And these are the people who provide all the food and the goods and the merchants that really allow the clergy and the nobles to do what they need to do, right? So these people, these are the bread and butter. These are real support, 95% that support all these nobles and kings and knights that have to protect the realm, right? So yeah, social classes. And they said that you're not going to, one thing that's different from kind of our cultures now is that you're usually not going to change from one class to another. Generally, you're born into a class and you stay in that class forever. So if you're a commoner, you're a farmer, you're going to be doing that your entire life, and your children are probably going to do that as well. They said one exception is the church. So if you want to leave, you're definitely not a farmer, you're getting called to church or whatever, you can go there and join that. Or if you are, say you're just really train hard and you're awesome at sword fighting, and they can take notice, the nobles can take notice of your skills on the battlefield, and then get you towards knighthood that way. So it's not unheard of, it's just uncommon for people to move classes. So someone wanted to throw out there. So it's good stuff to know about the world. So then the last thing I want to kind of tell you guys about are these universal laws. So these are some of the most important things that you would need to understand, which might not be common knowledge to like in our current times. But these are just universal. Everybody knows these things in the time of Pendragon. Okay. And they are hospitality, family, loyalty, and honor. And they are all, like I said, universal with everybody in Britain. They're respected by everyone, including between two enemies. And I thought this was really interesting. They said if a enemy, like a Pict, were to accept the hospitality of King Arthur, King Arthur says, hey, I'm going to give you hospitality, come down and visit my castle. Then this Pict, who's a sworn enemy of King Arthur, he will be rest assured, he will know for sure that he can eat and drink and relax in the king's halls without being afraid of they're going to be attacked or killed or anything like that, even to the point of becoming drunk. So I thought that was interesting. Once you say, hey, I'm giving you hospitality, you have to honor that. And it's kind of a two-way street. If there's like an argument that's going to be taking place, you need to fight somebody, you both go outside to fight. Or if one of them leaves, they don't come back in if they're not invited. So it's like a real big deal to this world. Now, they say also, like, if an enemy was conquered by King Arthur, so they say this Pict is conquered by King Arthur and he swears loyalty to him. Well, then Arthur will be assured that this enemy, former enemy, will obey him. He's going to believe him because this loyalty is a universal law. I say finally, like if somebody marries into a family, even of an enemy, that that person will immediately become a kinsman and will now be fully trusted. So no, you're my brother now, you're my kinsman, I will trust you, and you will not break that trust, right? And so I thought those were really important things that are very different, from the way that we think about things, and especially other RPGs where, you think of like being the sneaky guy, or, we'll just ambush this guy when he comes in. Well, a lot of those things would be way out of question in the realm of Pendragon. You would never think of doing something like that unless you're talking about being kicked out of knighthood and just, everything falling apart once people found out. Your whole reputation would go down the drain. So yeah, just some of these universal laws I thought were really neat, and it seems like it just makes the world that much better to play in, trying to figure out, playing these universal laws within these different classes and all these different leaders and stuff going on. It sounds like a pretty cool world. The book goes on to tell us a little bit more about like the customs and family, how marriages and inheritances work, how divorces work, how illegitimate kids work, and that type of thing. I'm not going to go through it tonight. The final chapter kind of, or the final little part here, goes over some of the knights and the law. It says that, I like this phrase, you are the law, right? As a knight, you are the law. And knights are considered kind of like the sheriff, the judge, and the jury for all matters of what is called low justice, okay? And so low justice is considered, cases that are less critical than like murder or rape or some like capital offense, right? That's considered low justice. And so that would fall underneath the knights, judge, jury, and sheriff area there. So they're able to like imprison people and those type of things. Anything above that would have to go to, a king or a lord or something like that. I thought this was interesting. They talked a little bit about trial by combat. They said that a knight at any time can kind of choose, hey, stop, I don't want to go to court. So let's duke this out, right? Let's go for it. They can choose trial by combat instead. And I like this. They said the idea that everybody believes is that God is going to favor whoever is right. And so whoever wins was the right guy. Kind of funny to me, but that's how they thought about it. They say right will always aid might. So if you're right, then you're always going to be stronger and better and faster than the other guy who's obviously wrong because he lost, right? And so that's something that's uncommon for us, but that they definitely did back then. So the trial by combat. And they said that a lord or a woman, they have to choose somebody else to fight, another knight to fight in their place. They said that a winner is decided by basically one of three rules set beforehand, which is either the first combatant to be knocked down or wounded will lose, the first one to yield or surrender is going to lose, or they might even fight to the death. And so they're going to decide these rules before they begin. And they said that it cannot be appealed, changed, or anything like that once it's decided. So we can't go, hey, we're going to fight to the death and go, oh no, I changed my mind. Let's just, I give up. No, you're going to die here because that's what we decided. I thought that was kind of interesting too. I think that's pretty much sums up the chapter on the Pendragon realm. Next time we're going to be looking at the character creation, which I'm really looking forward to in Pendragon, see what's involved in all of that. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you don't mind, like I said, go ahead and like the stream, subscribe if you're new, if you're not already, it's free. If you like this kind of content and you would like to support the stream, again, my Patreon link is down below, or you can buy me a cup of coffee instead. That link is in the description as well. Just look for the link that says KO-FI. They pronounce it coffee. It's just a one-time thing. There's no recurring charges or anything like that. No sign up. Just buy a cup of coffee and support the channel. It's simple as that. Every little bit helps, guys. It really does. Okay, that's it for me tonight. I will see you all on the next one, and we're going to be going over how to make a character in Pendragon. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.